The Cavs had their win streak snapped last night to the Milwaukee Bucks. Definitely a little bit of a different test than they had seen in the previous 8 games. The Cavs missed some shots. Giannis went crazy under some pretty wild circumstances with their coach being fired just the day before. Jason, you're in here to talk Cavs. Did we learn anything about the Cavs yesterday? Was anything exposed? Anything worth noting to keep track of as this Cavs team gets ready to head towards the upcoming All-Star break?
Yeah, we learned the Bucks are a lot better when Giannis plays.
Yeah.
That's what we learned.
And when he's motivated.
Yeah, I don't know you can say one game you learned or didn't learn anything. But it's hard to say anything with the Cavs because last year just hangs over everything. So this whole way, and like they were the hottest team in the league. They won 9 in a row, and we talked about it last week. I wrote about it last week. It's great, but they're going to be a completely different team when they're healthy. It's sort of like, you go back to the finals teams. I'll go back to that 2015 team we were talking about. Everyone's like, well, man, they would have won if they had Kevin and Kyrie. Well, they were a completely different team, and they were forced to play a completely different way.
Do you believe that, by the way? Because I don't believe that.
I don't know. Because of exactly what we're saying.
What's silly is, though, there are a lot of Cavs fans who say that as if it's a foregone
because they
conclusion.
were terrific players. But the Cavs completely altered the way that they played because they didn't have those guys. Look, same thing's kind of happening here. They've completely altered the way that they're playing because they don't have 2 of their big guys. And JB has said, like, we're just sort of jacking threes. Like, that's what we got to do. Now, they always wanted to get to the style of play. That's why they signed these shooters. Like, that's why they brought in Max Strus and George Niang. And Sam Merrill's getting some run now because they knew they needed more shooting. But when you bring another ball-dominant guard back in Darius, it's going to change the rhythm. It's going to change the tempo. It's going to change the ball movement. It's going to change everything.
It's not a big and 4 shooters anymore.
No, and when you bring Mobley back, it's going to change everything. So it sort of feels like we're just sitting in purgatory right now because I'm really and Mobley's getting close. He's on this trip. Darius is getting close. He had the wire removed from his jaw, but he lost so much weight in the time that he missed. He's got to get back up to game shape. And I just think that this is not telling us anything because they don't have 2 of their big dogs.
You didn't learn anything. Did either of you guys? Because I didn't either.
I actually did.
But I know Mike did, so that's why let's run the gamut here, and then we'll go to Mike.
I did. So last night was one of those things where you had not Darius Garland, but Donovan Mitchell. He's been playing the point. He's been moving the ball around. I learned that with the style that they play right now, if they have a bad shooting night, it's done. Like Giannis got what he wanted. Obviously, that's just Giannis doing him.
How much did they have to do with the Cavs having a bad shooting night?
But not very
Based
much.
on the defense.
Like, I think they play solid defense, but when I think Donovan Mitchell had a really bad shooting night. I think when I turned the game off, he was like 1 for 8 behind the arc. Dean Wade hit a 3. But, Niang and Strus didn't have a really great shooting night. Karis LeVert struggled. When they're playing like this and they want to shoot a lot of threes, they better hit them, right? Sure. When they're hitting threes, they're very, very good at extending the games, and I think they could win games like that if they hit shots. But like he said, is this replicatable when you get Darius Garland? Because now instead of Donovan Mitchell, you got Darius, and Darius like to pat that ball. Darius will pat the ball. It's been ball movement. How does it look and McNuggets said this too. And I wanted to ask Jason is Evan Mobley even as good as Allen at the 1 out, 1 big, 4 out? Because I think offensively, Jared Allen.
Careful, there'll be people that want to chase you down and beat you about the head and shoulders.
No, I'm just looking at him as touch around the basket. You don't need to run anything for him. Look at it, 21-12 playing against Lopez and Giannis. Come on, 5 assists. I mean, he's playing. I don't know if Mobley can do that consistently.
21-12. Well, I think Evan is a better one-on-one defender than Jared is.
I agree with that.
But Jared is putting up incredible numbers. But I still think Evan's ceiling is higher.
Yes, ceiling's
higher.
So
for the moment, you can't ask Jared to do anything more than he's doing.
Right.
Than he's played. He's been a great fit for this. If you want to look long-term and look years out, I still think Evan's ceiling is higher. And again, I keep saying it. I'm losing faith with every day that goes by that the 3-point shot's ever going to come for Evan. I think he's still really young, so you hate to put a ceiling on a guy. It's sort of like Josh Naylor in the war we were having about can you hit left-handed pitching or not.
Finally came around.
And so you don't want to cap a guy who's this young. But what if he develops a three-point shot, it changes his entire game.
How many years do you give him? Like what's?
I mean, he's only 21, 22.
I'm not saying we're here already. I'm just saying I'm curious.
I think you at least have to give him another 2 or 3 years.
It's safe to say, too, some guys never develop a shot.
They don't. They don't.
And I'm told that he's not developed the shot for a lack of trying. What I heard was he worked on it in this offseason, and it just came back and it looked exactly the same.
But people like Valanciunas has developed the three-point shot. Lopez developed a bit of a three-point shot. Guys like that who never used to be able to shoot threes. Even, I'm going to be honest, Lauri Markkanen was always a shooter, but I didn't think he was knocking them down at that rate when he played for Chicago.
He's a good example of a guy who's really evolved as he's been in the league and gotten comfortable.
Yeah.
So, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, what'd you learn?
The one thing I learned yesterday, and this was more confirmation than something we learned, but you look at that 8-game win streak, we were so excited about the offense. Well, eventually they weren't going to shoot 43% as a team from three, and when you're not making shots, you need a secondary creator on the court, and that's where Darius Garland comes back into play.
That's exactly what G said,
And G kind of alluded to it, and we had talked about, hypothetical trades and moving guys around, but last night proved Darius Garland has a crucial and needed role in this offense because it can't all be on Donovan. And as good as Sam Merrill is, as good as Strus is, as good as Niang's played, LeVert not fully in that category. They're great complementary offensive pieces, but they're not creators.
Mike, I agree with that. And to me, I guess my takeaway from all of this would be, as we've talked about, what are the Cavs going to do moving forward? Are they going to just blindly hope that Donovan decides he wants to stay here? Or are they going to be proactive and try to put his feet to the fire and say, are you going to sign the extension or are we going to move on? What are we going to do? What I did learn last night is, and I'll say it again, I've been saying it for a couple of weeks, they took the best team, in my view, the best team in the conference, and you can argue based on where things are right now. I still think Milwaukee is my team to beat in the East. They took their best shot last night. Giannis was completely motivated because the coach is up out of there because of Giannis. He wanted to come back and say, we didn't need him, see? So I think the Cavs took their best punch. And if this is the yardstick in the East, and even if you disagree with me that it's not, I don't think you can disagree with me and say that it's much below Boston or even if you have Philly. I think they're all right there together. If this Cavs team, without Garland, forget Mobley for this conversation, can take their best punch and play a relatively close game, I'm encouraged by that. It was on the road. I did say yesterday I want to see what happens in the 2 games.
Yeah.
My expectation is they should win one. The other one should be close.
Well,
I want to see what happens tomorrow night.
Where I would push back a little bit is they were down like 19
I know
or
they
21.
were. I know
Milwaukee it was over. And I know on the broadcast, here they come. No, it was over.
No, and you knew it was over, but I like the fact that we got the here.
But they fight. They're a gritty team that fights.
I love when AC does his. You got to cut it to 8 by the start of the 8-minute mark.
No. I mean, that's 8's nothing in the end. But it just felt like last night to me felt like Milwaukee's veteran team. I watched that for 4 years.
Yeah.
I watched that championship team, that veteran team who put the game away, and they're like, all right, where are we going for beers tonight?
Yeah,
and there's still 6 minutes on the clock, and that scrappy team's coming back, and they're coming back, but it's over.
On the Mobley front, and I know every time I bring it up, everybody says they're not trading him, they're not trading him, they're not trading him. I had a conversation in the newsroom yesterday about examples in Cleveland sports history when they decided it was time to move on from a guy.
Yeah.
And that's always the tricky part. Have we held Bieber too long? Probably.
They would have traded him last year if it wasn't for the injury.
I know. Brandon Phillips. Remember that deal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there is, and we don't.
They didn't hold on to him too long. They didn't give him long enough.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So those are decisions that we don't have the benefit of the future results to know how they work out.
Right.
But what you're doing is you're prospecting. You're prospecting. When you draft a guy, you're prospecting. I expect this player is going to be. I will say this about Mobley. For me, my expectations for him have come down every year. They haven't gone up.
Yeah.
I was so excited about him his rookie season. I thought, oh my God, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
He could be a unicorn. But what I've seen is his ceiling has slowly gone down. Don't you want to, if you're going to make a decision on a player, you want to make a decision on that player when his value is still as high as it's ever going to be. And for me, I don't know that it's going to be any higher. If it comes down again after this year, like at some point, the league consensus on him is going to be, oh, he's never going to be that guy. And then the ship has sailed. You're not going to get the most you can for him.
And who do we blame for he's made no progress as a player? Is that his fault? Is it the coach's fault?
I put it on him because the Cavs have shown they can develop guys.
They have, and they're patient.
They've done a great job of finding guys on the margins and developing them. This is a number 3 overall pick.
Right.
So it's on. I put a lot of this on him.
I mean, sometimes it is like, I think we don't, we underestimate God-given ability. Sometimes you ain't got it. Like, you try all you want. I could go out and I could train and pitch and do whatever I want to. I'm not going to be pitching like Jay. It's just not in the cards.
Now, I will say, like, he's still elite defensively.
Yeah.
He is elite.
I love
elite.
Listen,
what hasn't
I agree.
developed.
Top 3.
And really, I mean, if you look at some of like he was regressing a little bit this year, especially like in the lane and around the lane. His numbers were not good.
Was that because of the injury?
Well, no, I don't know. Like,
Mike, I thought you were telling me, correct me if I'm wrong, sorry to cut you off, Jason, but weren't you telling me that you think his defense is overrated?
I think he's a much better help defender than he is an on-ball defender.
See, I disagree, but Mike played the game. Like, again, I defer to guys who played, and Mike played at a higher level than I did. But I look at him. I look at some of the moves that he makes defensively and the way he can switch from one to another.
I like his switching
and
ability too.
His body control and his ability to block and alter shots without fouling. Like, I think he's pretty good.
Wait, Jason, real quick. When I say he's a better off-ball defender, Giannis is a much better off-ball defender than on-ball defender too. That's not even necessarily a knock on him being a bad defender, like by any means. I just think he's better when he's not the point of attack guy, and you have to worry about
that's fair.
Evan Mobley coming from outside of the picture.
I mean, real quick,
to
guys.
swat a shot.
JB ultimately is going to have to find that, like, when Darius comes back, you don't want to just completely give up the way you've been playing, having success. But
no, you got to blend the two.
So how do you kind of find that mix? It's not easy.
I think Sam Merrill has to stay on the floor.
I would agree with that too.
But somebody's going to lose minutes when Darius comes back. To me, it can't be Sam.
I think G. Bush said I think it was you, said, how about we go that Allen gets 24 minutes and Mobley gets 24 minutes. And you know what? I had never thought of that before, but I kind of like it.
Jason,
keep them fresh.
Entertain me for a little bit. This is messed up that I think about this, and I know we always go down this road. But the thing that the Cavs are missing is 4 shooters and LeBron. No, for real. Like, can you imagine? Like Mobley is the new Tristan Thompson. Right? He's switching off on these picks. LeBron don't even have to play on ball like that. They got 2 erasers down there. You got Sam Merrill's a shooter, Niang is a shooter, Strus is a shooter, and you could put Isaac Okoro, like Amon Shumpert, on one of the best
I mean,
offensive
you don't have
guys.
to
It's
convince,
crazy.
You don't have to convince me. If LeBron's on this team, they're winning the championship. I totally believe that.
It's
they're winning the
perfect.
championship if
It's
LeBron's
the
on this team.
perfect setup.
No matter who they have to trade to get him?
Well, he's not coming. Like, it's a fantasy conversation.
Yeah, but
at least right
we
now.
sure he's not coming?
I'm saying, hey, listen, I've been driving the train. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Listen,
Yeah, so I
man.
said earlier this week, why would you give up assets that can help him next year
Right.
if you can just get him next year as a free agent?
Well, but the money would be.
I know. It's tricky.
Can we put the
We have a
collection